Today my lectures about agroecological regions. So first of all, I'm going to record. Okay. Okay.
Recording in progress.
Right. So then you have learned about the introduction part of 11113 about your course, right? Principles of crop production, like that, and we have already revised this curriculum. So under these we have one subject, okay, that is agroecological regions, right? So my part is to cover the agroecological regions. In addition to that, I will cover climatology, right? So today we are going to looking about the agroecological regions, right? My name is Devanan and attached to Department of Agronomy, right? And if you look at the climate, you have already learned about these things in your advanced level. If you are specialized in the agriculture subject in advanced level, so we will look about the climate, the long-term behavior of different parameters in the atmosphere, such as rainfall, temperature, relative humidity, RH mean relative humidity, wind velocity, and air pressure, solar radiation is known as climate. So the opposite, that means the not a short-term behavior, that is called weather. If you look at the weather, this is the present situation in the atmosphere, right? So there's a difference between climate and weather. So climate means the long-term behavior in the atmosphere, right? So atmosphere itself have the factors. Okay, one is rainfall, temperature, relative humidity, wind velocity, air pressure, and solar radiation. So why we are studying about these climate and weather? Because we are the agriculture people. We are studying about the crops and animals, not only crops, right? Think about that, animals. So then we should learn about the environment where the living organisms are living, right? So that we should understand what about the climate, what about the weather, then we can go for a cultivation aspect of crops, trees. Similarly, we also look about the factors, right, influencing on the animal production, right? So if you see the agriculture, the main component is crop science, right? That is agronomy, that means crops and trees. and other part is animal. Right? So you are looking about how to rear the animals with the effective management. Say for an example, we will look about crops, annual crops. Right? The crops can be produced or we can get the yield within 1 year. Biennial crops and perennial crops. Perennial means more than 2 years. The crop can be grown in a particular field. Likewise, in animal, goats, livestock, cattle, right? We will look about that. Okay. We will study about these things deeply later, right? So before entering the main part, you should know about about some definition. One is ecotype, right? So we are studying about the crop. So that crop cultivar adapted to a particular range of climate or soil condition. So maybe I am in Jaffna, that's you are in Cleanage. Somebody is in Kandy, somebody is in no area. So the likewise in our adaptation also different. The crop also, some crops can be successfully cultivated in Jaffna. Some crops are cultivated in Baunia successfully. Some crops may be successfully cultivated in Novarelia, Bardula, Bandara. So then that means the climate and soil conditions are different. The environment are different. So then the ecotype mean the particular crop or maybe that variety, maybe that cultivar. So we will study about these birds later. So just you know about the banana, say about banana. You have a different types of banana. Yes, Idan, Kappal, Kolikuru, like that. You had so many varieties. So then we will study later about that. So what does it mean? Ecotype, the particular cultivar or crop adapted to the particular environmental condition. Then if you look about the adapic factors, see the requirement of crop for a particular condition or range of condition in the soil environment. Right? So you maybe sometimes heard about that soil characters, but it should be very much important to learn about the soil environment. Why? Because the plant or trees, right, can be grown successfully by using some medium that is called soil, right? So in Sri Lanka, almost all the crops are cultivated in the soil. So then we should study about this soil environment for the requirement of crop growth. Understand? Right? Why? Because the particular crop need the particular requirement of soil. That means the soil is having so many factors. Understand? So if you look at the crop can be grown right like that. So here we see the roots is there. Here we see some branches, right? So this is called canopy, right? The crop canopy we see above ground part canopy, right? That means it consists leaves, all the things, right? Canopy. Here we see roots, the basic roots, right? We see like that roots, right? So many different type of roots are available. So that will be studied later, no problem, right? Just understand the basic idea. So if a crop, right, if a plant, right, need to be cultivated or successfully grown in a particular area, we should consider both factors, that means above ground factors and below ground factors. The above ground factors mean that climate, maybe rainfall, temperature, relative humidity, like that. What we can do in the below ground, that's also we have to consider because that is the basement. The plant can anchor, right? The soil can support the roots. So then the medium, right? The growing medium is very much important. So then the soil is having structure, texture, right? Soil microorganism, right? So we will look about all the factors here for the crop production. See, the adapic factor mean that is the soil environment, we say soil factors. Okay. Phenological requirement is the crop requirement for certain environmental condition to occur at times which are related to the growth cycle. So you know that what does it mean growth cycle? You know, right? So suppose we are looking about, we are like maybe that more than 80 years, 100 years as a human, you know. So our cycle can be finished within 60 days. Nowadays, Corona, what are the factors? So our cycle will be very shortened. We don't know actually what will be happening next day, right? So that's the thing nowadays happening, right? But the maturity period or growth cycle mean the crop is having some growing period. So then you know, right? So if that is called growth maturity period or growth cycle. So one is that it can be growth. That means the vegetative stage. You see, one is that vegetative stage. Vegetative stage, right? That means plant can grow. Vegetative, right? Vegetative stage. Okay, that is a basic stage. Okay. Other one, we say reproductive stage. You know, right? Plant can produce the flower, fruit. So then it is called reproductive stage. Understand? Okay, reproductive stage. Then other one we call a ripening stage. That means fruit bearing part, right? Ripening stage. Okay, understand, no? You also have some stage, likewise ripening stage. We say juvenile period, right? Then after married, then like that, it may go. Some age holding factors, likewise, the crop also having some period. Then the requirement are different with a different stage. Vegetative stage, the plant can grow. Only we can observe the growth. Reproductive stage, we can observe flowering and fruits and other characters. Ripening stage, then plant can fruit or any other things can mature. So then the requirement of factors that may be different with the different stages. Okay, that is called the phenological requirement, or maybe that we can call physiological requirement. Okay. Then next definition, if you look at that, potential yield. So why I am saying that the particular farmer mainly focus about yield, because I am going to cultivate the brinjal. Brinjal, you know, simply I can say brinjal. Then my final target is to get the maximum yield by why? Because I want to get the maximum income, profit. That's why yield is one of the main factor, right? Yield maybe that economic yield. Economic yield. What does it mean? If you look at the carrot, you know the carrot, no? I am saying the simply. Carrot. What is the part? The root, no? That we can see the carrot underground part, right? See, the yield, the economic part is underground part. That is yield, carrot yield. How many kilogram we can get carrot? Like beetroot, that is also underground part. But if you look at the mango, fruit, is it? So different. Yield is different. If you look at the cauliflower, flower, is it? Flower is the economic part, right? If you consider about the amaranthus, maybe the salad, what is that economic part? Leaves. Is it leafy cabbage? Leaves. So our economic parts are different, but all are called as yield, right? So then here we say potential yield. Right? That means we can grow the brinjal in the field. See, the particular farmer is going to be cultivate the brinjal in the field. Understand? So then, okay, here I am saying that he's having some 1 acre land. Okay, 1 acre land, 1 acre crop brinjal, right? Brinjal, okay, brinjal, right? Okay, so in the open field environment, he's going to cultivate a brinjal. So then he's carrying so many barriers. What does it mean? Water, right? Water availability, one of the barrier. Temperature, one of the barrier. Wind, one of the barrier. Soil fertility, right? Soil fertility, soil factors, one of the barrier, right? Pest and disease, one of the barrier. Right? Pest and disease, one of the barriers. Okay. So many factors are influencing on these brinjal cultivation. So if the factors are somewhat bad or somewhat influence on the brinjal cultivation, farmers can get the expected yield. Cannot be get the expected yield. So say for an example, the brinjal, he is going to get 30 tons, 30 tons per hectare. Now, that's a recommended yield. For an example, the recommended yield of brinjal is 30 tons per hectare. But if these factors are influencing as a barriers, then the farmers can't get these 30 tons per hectare. It should be lower than that, maybe that 20 tons per hectare. We don't know actually, right? 20 tons per hectare. Okay. See, so potential yield mean without these factors, that means there is no any limitation. Now you are studying in the computer. You have limitation, no? You have to sit in the table or somewhere in the mobile. You need the network. You need some other factors as well. So you have some barriers. So then, likewise, without any barriers, we will provide all the requirement. How much of fertilizer need? How much of water need? How much of environmental factor needs? All the factors when we provide to the particular crop, then we can get a yield. That's called potentially, that be maximum yield, because there is no any limitation. Understand? So without limitation, how much of yield we can get, that is called potential yield. So the potential yield is always high because without any barriers, we are going to get the yield. So any kind of yield, other yield, when we put in the field or when we cultivate in any other land, because of the barriers, we will get lower than the yield, right? So then, if you look at the agronomic attainable yield, that is the environmental factors we can get, right? So if you look at these average yield, that is farmers can get the different field, then we can go for averaging. Then average yield, farmer yield also same. National yield, what does it mean? The national yield, say Jaffna district having the average yield of brinjal 30 tons per hectare, say for an example. Likewise, Anuradhapura district having some yield 20 tons per hectare. Nuvarelia district maybe 10 tons per hectare. We don't know actually. So national yield mean we are averaging all the district average yield, then we can get a national yield. So definitely one district is having high yield while other district is having lower yield. Isn't? Definitely that should be there. There should be a variation. So national yield always lower than that potential yield. Understand? So you should know what does it mean yield. That's what I am putting this definition, right? Okay. Next, soil type. Because we are looking about the crop production, then definitely we have to learn about the soil type. Right? So basically sandy soil, loamy soil, then we say clay type of soil, like that. But in the agriculture, you will learn about different soil types, right? So why? What is the factors? Reddish brown earth, you will study later. Reddish brown earth, calcic red yellow soil. Likewise, there are so many series, so many type of soils are available. We will study about these things, right? So soil type is a specific unit of soil with definable ranges of characteristics. Sandy soil having different characteristics, whereas the clay soil having another type of characters. So we should know, because sandy soil, some crops are successfully cultivated, right? Similarly, in clay type, we can cultivate different type of crops. So soil also should influence in the crop selection. Okay. So then we should understand about the soil classification system and soil type in Sri Lanka. Okay. Then we can suggest what type of crops we can grow. So now we look about the agroecological zoning and cell. So ecological cell is an area or point with a unique combination of land, soil, climate, and characteristic, right? So that means, so see for an example, okay. So in particular district having different agroecological regions. See this district having one, right, two, and three ecological cell. That means within this area, sometimes so many divisions are come, DN divisions are come, we don't know. So within this region, all are uniform. That means where you go, you can go this corner, maybe you can go this corner somewhere here, but the characters are same. That means the land, soil, and climatic characteristics are same. So within these particular region, all the factors are same. That's called cell. The ecological cell is the basic processing unit for physical analysis in the agroecological zone study. So first we will look about the homogeneous character, that means the uniform character, same characters, right? The essential elements in defining an agroecological zone or cell are the growing period, temperature regime, and soil mapping unit. So, so how we can define the agroecological region? So we should know at least about growing period. That means, see, I am telling about the example with brinjal, right? This is one of the famous vegetable, brinjal. So what we can do, this can be grow having vegetative stage and reproductive stage and fruit maturity stage. So altogether, the crop period is almost 90 days. We say, right? 90 days. That means almost 3 months, right? So we need about the growing period of this particular crop. So then this is 90 days. And also we should know about we have January, right? January to, right? December, right? Up to we have 12 months. So where at what time we are going to cultivate this crop? See, if we start in the January, then January, February, March we can get the yield, right? So if you start somewhere September, then September, October, November, December, you need 3 months. So that, because what I am saying, because in particular agroecological region is having different combination of rainfall, temperature, and soil condition, a different period. So we should know about the growing period and cropping calendar. This is called the cropping calendar and soil mapping unit. So we should know at least what type of soil available in that particular area, right? So after identification of these, then we say where if we go this side, or we say this area is having this type of characteristic, this type of combination, then we can recommend some crops to grow in the particular area. Okay, so that's what we see, that agroecological cells and zonings are the basic step to define the agroecological regions. Okay. Now, if you look at the agroecological zoning, same principles will come, refers to the division of an area or land into the smaller units, which have similar characteristic related to the land suitability. Okay, not the I, this is I, yeah. Okay, suitability, right? SUI, okay, SUI, suitability, potential production and environmental impact. So when we divide further and further, we can have a more uniform of the particular area. Okay, uniformity will increase. Ecological economic zoning is a kind of zoning which integrates physical land resources elements with the socio-economic factors and wider range of land uses. Right? So some word is coming here, that is economic zoning. That's what we say here, socio-economic. That means our income, we are looking about the income, right? Cost, right? Cost of cultivation. Right? What about the profit, right? Profit. That means, yeah, right? What about the profit, right? What about the social factors that also influence, right? What about the farmers? Whether the male, or right, that's also social factor. Whether male is the farmer or female, right? Right? That's also one of the factor. What about the education? Their education, right? What about their age, right? What about their age? So all these factors will come, right? So that is called socio-economic factors, right? Okay, you can just understand about the basic, right? But you can you will learn about those things in the later, no problem, right? An agroecological zone is a land resource mapping unit defined in terms of climate, right? Land form and soil and land cover, having a specific range of potential and constraint for the lands, right? So what are the potential for the particular land and what may be the reason for low production constraints? What are the constraints availability in the particular land area, right? So all these come. Then after identification of agroecological regions, now you say, for an example, if you go to the Nover area, right, you can see the climate. You can locate in a particular area, then you can see, okay, this area is belonging to these agroecological regions. Then you can tell about the characteristic. This is you can tell, no? So what you can tell, okay, this is up country, this is cool climate, this is somewhat rainfall area. Likewise, you can predict, no? But after identification of particular agroecological region, then you can see, you can define, you can describe all the agroecological characteristic of the particular area. Understand, right? So we will study, no problem. So you should understand what we are going to study here. Okay, so classification of agroecological region in other countries. Before move to the Sri Lankan classification, Africa, so the countries to countries, they classify according to their rainfall and environmental and edaphic factors. Okay, they have only 5 different agroecological zones. So according to the rainfall and length of the growing season. Understand? So in the, based on 2 factors, they have a 5 different agroecological region. Right? So then the length of the growing season is clearly associated with rainfall in the region, because so in Sri Lanka we have 2 seasons, say, right? That means we see Maha season and Jala season. So then according to that, we plan for the crop cultivation. Is it 2 season, Maha and Jala season? Isn't Maha season we say, and another season we say Jala season. So according to the season, we are going to plan our crop cultivation. Okay. Likewise, this is the growing season in Africa. They easily predicted with the rainfall and region. The 8 sites cover the range of agroecological zones in some area: humid, subhumid, dry subhumid, semi-arid, and arid tropics. So right? We are living in the tropical zone. So you can see this is polar region and this also polar region. That means ice forming area. We are here, no? Closer to the equator, we are here. Understand? So we are here. So that's what we say. We are in tropical. We are born in the tropical countries. Sri Lanka is one of the tropical countries. Okay. Why? Because we are closer to that equator, right? So when we move from tropical to the main center portion to polar region, so then the ice forming area we can touch, right? So then we say here tropical zone. So we are in the tropics here. When we go from further and further towards the polar region, we say subtropics. Is it subtropics? So I am clearly explain about these things because you are in the node one, so you should understand what does it mean. Then when you move further, then that is called temperate, not temperature, temperate, right? Temperate countries, isn't temperate countries. Then after that you say Arctic, isn't Arctic region, ice forming area, isn't right? Say that is you should understand, right? What is that? The meaning, right? Okay. So then another region, Zambia is classified according to 3 major agroecological regions. They have different agroecological regions, right? So then receive an annual average rainfall based on that. They will classify. Okay. So this is the different agroecological region followed by different countries. Okay. Now we look about the agroecology. Now we will come to the point, right? So then agroecology. So the below ground factors and above ground factors we are looking about here, right? So then, so we have that climatic factors and the soilo-edaphic factors here. So the climatic factors we say rainfall, temperature, RH, wind velocity, air pressure, and solar radiation. So then we will study about these factors in deeply. Our demonstration will explain about these things clearly in the practical classes. That means how you can measure the rainfall, what are the instruments we can use to measure these climatic parameters, then we will study. Okay. Now, the climatic factors mean above the factors. So if you look at that above the factor rather than these factors, we will say crops and animals and trees are available. Is it? Here we say. So then that's what we say acro, and that's a component acro. That means crops plus animals. Okay, animals, especially what are the crops we are growing, what are the animals we are rearing. So if you hear the words crops, then we say what is that crops? Cultivation. We say cultivation, right? Cultivation we see. Okay. Okay. If you say the animals, we say rearing. You know, rearing, where animals mean livestock, not cultivation. Rearing, right? Rearing, ing, right? Rearing animals, right? There are different terminology, right? Okay. So then we say like below ground part soil. So because you know there's some root crops are below potato, carrot, right? Radish, snowball, and root forming area. So that's what we see here. Look about the soil factors also. Here soil also having soil, what is it? Soil temperature. We know the atmosphere temperature also we have. Similarly, we have a soil temperature. Likewise, we say soil air. You know, soil air. In the soil also we have soil air. That means we will study soil porosity. Right? Soil porosity. You may heard about that. Soil porosity, soil air. Porosity. Okay. What else we are looking about that? Soil water. That's also important. Water. Soil water. Right? What else we need? Soil fertility. What about the fertile condition of soil? Right? Soil fertility. Understand? Fertility, right? Fertility. Okay. And what is we are looking about that? Soil's type. Type also important, right? Soil type is in type. That means then in the type we say structure, texture. Right? Another important factor, soil microorganism. Right? That's also very important factor, no? Microorganism. Microorganism. Right? Soil microorganism. So whatever the factors or materials available under the soil, we have to look about that, right? And we say this is ground surface, ground floor. That's also we are looking about that whether it is mountainous, whether it is slope, whether it is flat, whether it is undulating. We will see the ground floor also like that, no? This is called we say mountainous pattern, no? Mountainous pattern. Isn't? What about slope? That's also influence, no? Above ground, below ground, and at the ground, what will be happen? This is we see flat, right? Whether it is flat. This is called undulating land formation. Undulating land format. Okay. Okay. So then, whatever the factors come across in above ground or below ground, then we should study about these things. That is ecology, that is environment, right? Then we say this is one of the agroecosystem, is it? Agroecosystem or agroecological system. So this is the crop cultivated area, animal rearing area, then the environment is different. So if you look at further, I am saying that if you go to the pond, the environment is different. You know, right? If you go to the pond, aquatic place, then the below ground component and above ground component are different. Environment is different. So that is different ecosystem. Right? If you move to the forest, then the trees, woody trees, shrubs, all the things are available. Below ground component are different. Right? If you go to the coral reef ecosystem, that's one of the another ecosystem, coral reef ecosystem, because we say forest, the rainforest is a diversity rich area. Likewise, in marine, coral reef ecosystem are in rich diversity. Then coral reef ecosystem environment are different. Below ground environment, rocks and coral reef and fish like that beautiful animal, living aquatic animals are available. Above ground but are different. Understand, no? So now we are here looking about the agroecology. So you should understand what is ecosystem. So that we have different ecosystem, forest ecosystem, aquatic ecosystem, terrestrial ecosystem. So according to the ecosystem, we have different environment, different climatic factors, different below ground factors, right? We will look about that. So if you look at the ecology, the scientific study of process of influencing distribution and abundance of organism, the interaction among organism, and the interaction between organism and the transformation flux of energy and matters, right? So ecology, that is a simple definition. Interaction should be there between biotic and abiotic component. So you should maybe understand. You have already studied about these things, right? Environment focuses on the interaction between the physical, chemical, and biological component of the environment, including the effect on all types of organisms, specifically refers to the impact of human on the environment, right? So we are looking about all the factors and components. Then what about the interaction among these organisms, between the organism, within the organism, we have to study, right? Okay. So then the scientific study of the process influencing the distribution and abundance of crop and livestock in agriculture land use, the interaction among the agriculture crops and animals, and the interaction of energy and matter is called as agroecology. So we will include those crops and animal component into the definition. Then we will say regions. This is one of the ecological region, agroecological region, represent a particular combination of the natural characteristic of climate, soil, and relief. Right? Relief mean other factors. We will study about what other factors will come. So then the important highlight particular combination of the natural characteristic of climate, soil, and relief. Okay. The agroclimatic map, which can be considered as areas where the integrated effect of climate is uniform throughout the area for the crop production, is superimposed on soil and terrain, resulting map identifies agroecological region. So we can go for an agroclimatic map. Then we can draw the map in the particular area. I have already that. Then what are the characters? What are the crop components? And that is called uniform, right? Uniformity we should consider through area the crop production and other things. Okay, so I have already explained. Okay, right. The agroecological region, we can say the chronic areas with homogeneous sets. Right? Homogeneous means uniformity. I have already mentioned that different terminology are here. Homogeneous means uniform, right? Uniformity. Okay, same, right? Uniform. Okay, of climatic parameters and natural resource characteristics such as rainfall, solar radiation, soil types, and soil qualities, which correspond to the level of agricultural potential. So if it's not uniform, what we can do? Heterogeneity, is it? Another term, opposite term, heterogeneity, right? Or heterogeneous. We can say. Okay. So opposite word, right? Homogeneous and heterogeneous. Okay. Right. Now we will look about the Sri Lankan condition. What about the Sri Lankan agroecological regions? Okay. So first, this is a overall classification. So you should carefully look about these classification. Then you can understand whatever I am asked. Whatever I ask, then you can immediately tell. Okay. So first factor, we will see the rainfall. You know, right? Rainfall is the first factor. We are going to look about the characteristic, right? Okay, rainfall. Based on the rainfall, Sri Lanka is divided into what we can do, say, the three climatic zone. The rainfall is one of the climatic factors. Climatic factors. So climatic zone, dry zone, intermediate zone, and wet zone. Understand, right? There are three zones. So if you look about the rice zone, what about the rainfall? The area which receives less than 1,750 millimeter, you should know about the unit as well, right? So less than that, we will call it as dry zone. Understand? If you look about the wet zone, right? The area which receives more than 2,500 millimeter, then we call it as the wet zone. Okay, so in between that 1,750 millimeter to 2,500 millimeter, that is called the intermediate zone, right? So this is mainly based on the rainfall, right? Rainfall, we are going to classify the Sri Lanka. So that is called three climatic zone, right? Then if you look about the elevation, what does it mean elevation? We say the mean sea level, right? We have a sea level, and then our land is rising like that. So then this is the sea level position, say mean sea level, right? So then there is a reference point of a height. So then if you go, this is 200 meter, that means 200 meter mean sea level above from the mean sea level, because our reference point is mean sea level 0. The sea level is Then if you go to the upcountry area, then 500 meter, right? That is our reference point, means sea level. So that is elevation, right? The vertical height. We are looking about the vertical height, right? So the based on the height, we are classifying the area into three categories, right? That means the low country, mid country, and up country. You can see here low country, mid country, and up country. Understand? So the area which falls less than the 300 meter, that is called low country, right? Similarly, the area which receives more than 900 meter falls, right? For more than 900 meter, we say up country. In between that, we say mid country. You can see that rise zone, intermediate zone, wet zone, that is based on the climatic factors, rainfall, and this is based on the elevation. We see low country, mid country, up country. Understand? Then the further we can see here, the based on these height, the dry zone only is having low country. That means there is no any place in the dry zone is having more than 300 meter. All the dry zone area falls less than 300 meter. So there is no any mid country or up country in the dry zone. Understand? But intermediate zone, we have all the country, low country, mid country, because the height is vary from 200, maybe that more than 900 as well. So that's what the intermediate zone we will have low country, mid country, up country. Similarly, in wet zone, we also have low country, mid country, up country, right? So the only the different, the right zone is only having the low country. Understand, right? So based on these two combinations, so I am asking that, what about the maximum height of Sri Lanka? Do you know what is the maximum height of Sri Lanka? Tell about that. But which is the maximum height or maximum elevation point in Sri Lanka? Anyone? Anyone you can see? Highest point, peak point of Sri Lanka. Nobody know. Yeah, tell about that. What is the maximum or peak point of Sri Lanka? You all like Sri Lanka, no? Tell about that. No problem. Don't worry about that. Tell about that. Yes, very good. Pidrutalakala mountain. That is the peak point, maximum point. You know, right? There's a we went there. During our study visit, we went, right? So then, what's the maximum height? What is the height of that Pidrutalakala mountain? Yes, 2025 to 24, very good, 24 to 24 meter. That means just 2.5 kilometer. You can think about that. The height mean we are saying that maximum height like that, just 2.5 kilometer. That means you can think about that. Maybe some in your area you can think about what about the 2.5 kilometer. That is the maximum vertical height, 2.5, 25 meter, right? 24 meter. We went different environment, beautiful environment, right? But dangerous environment. Some dangerous animals are there. But there is a peak point they have, the mountain, top mountain, they have a northeast mark also. Right? Northeast mark also there. There's a tower is there, Ruvani tower is there, right? We went and we feel that climate very cold, very chilling effect, and we had a plenty on the top of the mountain. That means the maximum height of mountain, we had a plenty with a mixer. Very experienced, very experienced, very fantastic experience we got, right? Because there's a maximum elevation behind the maximum height of the Sri Lanka, very dangerous because people can't go. There's a gate, security gate, forest security gate, nobody can go because the leopard and other dangerous animals are living and elephants also living here and there. So that's what they are not allowed any people inside. That's all comes under the forest people, right? But we got the special permission and we went, right, during the study visit and we enjoyed, right? Okay. So I think maybe that we have time, okay, limited time. So next class we will move about these other site classification. So you can have some idea about the agroecological region. Okay. So we have another class, no? Isn't? Am I correct?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. 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 Thank you very much.